and welcome to a Wet Soap Wednesday. I am your soapy friend Kendra, and let's make some soap. Whew. All right, so if you read the description to this video, all of this is in there. I'm trying to keep it all straight in my head. I've got notes. We have so much fun in store. So let me give you a preface as to what the heck we're doing today and why. It's pretty common in Facebook. It's what our Facebook groups are for. Someone posts a question, hey, something odd happened, or hey, this happened, whatever it was. Does anyone ever experience it or anyone know what's going on? Typically within, an hour or so, someone says, I've had the exact same thing happen. It looks exactly like A, B, or C. Whatever it is, you can go about your way, finish troubleshooting your soap, and then have some wonderful soap problem solved. Not so common is for that post to not get an answer for you. And then not only that, but other posts and other groups, because there's lots of us in the soaping community with our own focus groups, no answers there too. Like no one else has seen this. So what the heck is going on? Well, that's what happened to Soapy Friend Kathy. And I'm not sure if she's popped on just yet, but Kathy will be joining us today. She had this really weird thing happening with her soap. Little bit of background. So she's a vegan soap maker, and as she's kind of changing things up, she is now starting to soap hyper local. So she's focusing on local ingredients, one of which is tallow. So her recipe is 3-to-1 tallow to coconut oil. Okay, great. She loves the soap. She did a bunch of tests. It's great. Great bar soap. It lasts. It withstands the weird humidity in her new environment. All this great stuff. All right, so she starts making soap and she colors it. And it's beautiful. Looks great. Woohoo. Thumbs up, right? Great recipe. Holds the color well. All these great, great, great things. But then she uses a bar of soap that's been colored, and it's like the color washes off. Like I said in the description, it's like this weird reverse soda ash or something. Whereas with soda ash, you're going to have this white kind of ash on top. You use the bar, it washes away. But what she was experiencing was the opposite. She has this beautiful colored bar. She uses it. It's like the color washes away a couple of shades, and then as it dries, it reblooms in color. I mean, it's really pretty weird. I'm just going to straighten you out here a little bit. So I did message her and said, hey, try this, that, the other thing. She said she has. I'm like, wow, this is just really weird. And she keeps sharing these photos with me of soaps that when she uses them, it's like the color's gone, but there's no color in the lather. It's where it's like reverse soda ash. It's the craziest thing. So we're going to try and figure that out today. She has done some of her own tests, and there are some updates that I don't have quite yet from her on this weird phenomenon. But I told her I would do some tests for her, and I am going to send these soaps to her. With that long-winded explanation, let's start making some soap. I'm going to flip you over. I did just kind of adjusted the visual for you here. I made my face a little bit larger, and I put it down in the corner. And I'm going to tip you down because I want you to see right here. I might have to do some stuff here. So yeah, my head's chopped off. Hi. But I also want you to see the molds as we pour them. Okay, so one thing that we're going to do is, and these are the same molds that Kathy uses. Let me explain these a little bit. I've mentioned these before. See how floppy they are? I never liked this, so yay for cafeteria trays, because now I can move them around once they're filled with soap. The other thing you need to make sure you do with these kind of floppy molds is to make sure the center of your flowers is flat. I've accidentally poured, I'm exaggerating this, accidentally poured soap like this so you get a lopsided flower. But so I just kind of make sure they're all flat. The next thing I wanted to show you before we get to making the soap, because I'm not going to have the space to set this up on camera for you. These are my heating pads that I mentioned a while ago. Now the cool thing about them is they stay on. Once you turn them on, they don't auto shut off, which I think is great because I want my own timer. I think they typically don't heating pads shut off after an hour now as a safety feature? Well, these are old school and they don't have that safety feature. I did put the link down in the description for them. Just make sure you set your own timer and turn these suckers off. Okay, so this is how we're going to use these, because we're going to both just countertop setup, meaning no residual heat. Very similar situation to Kathy's setup, where we have a stainless steel table which stays cold. It conducts either the current temperature. So the room will be cool, the table will be cold, these soaps will set up kind of cold. Versus we're going to test doing a CPOP. Cold process, oven process is what CPOP stands for. But I don't have an oven in my space. And I use heating pads. I've used, countertop heat, and I tend not to need an oven to CPOP, because I don't want to have an oven that I can fit a mold into and all of that. So I just try and insulate. So, but when you're dealing with cavity molds, it's really hard to do. So this is what I came up with, and it worked like a charm. Let me show you how well it worked. These soaps are identical. See that? This one CPOP'd with this method. This one didn't. See how light that is? But it's dark on the inside, right? That's crazy cool. So this is a full gel. This one is not. And this is some indigo from a decoction we're going to be using in the anti-alkanet master class this weekend. Ooh, I'm so excited about the class. All right, let me put these aside. All right, so that's how I gelled it without an oven in a cavity mold. Heating pad, cafeteria tray, shot glasses, cafeteria tray hat. Now, the key here, and I'm going to hold these up. You see how much room I have in there? So the shot glasses for me were the right size for the height of my mold, and I'm pretty sure, they work on all of my cavity molds, unless you have an extra tall cavity mold, in which case get some tall mason jars or something, those skinny 12-ouncers. All right, then you take your second heating pad, set that on top. Then one more thing is I actually used 3 towels, and I just covered the sides. So this was hanging down the side. I put another one in the middle, and then another one over there. It insulated great. I had this, my heating pad on the high setting. I left it on for 2 hours, set a timer, turned it off, didn't touch it until the next day, fully gelled soap. It was awesome. So that is my new small batch CPOP method. And I am now going to put these away. But what I'm going to do at the end off camera is set up one of our sets of soaps layered up like this, so that we will get a full gel on some of them. Okay, getting this all out of the way. It's like the more room you get set up for yourself, the more stuff you get set out, and the less room you have and the more room you need. It's a vicious cycle. All right, let's talk about our soap additives. Back over here, this is just a countertop burner, and I have all of our fats melted. I'm going to take them off the burner. Some of them got a little hot. It was very difficult trying to get all of our temperatures equal, so we're just going to do the best we can with it. This recipe is all solid fats, so I have, I can't soap room temperature. About 100 degrees, oh, there's Kathy, hey Kathy. About 100 degrees is where Kathy is soaping at, and that's basically when the oils are fluid. So this one's a bit hot right now. My big one where I'm going to be pouring out of, it's actually at 150, and some of my smaller ones are, about 120. I think they'll cool down as we're chatting. And to speed some of that cooling off, I'm going to put, this is what I was talking about, stainless steel conducting the room temperature. So I just put some ice packs down on the table. That's going to cool the table off and thus cool our oils down. So we'll let those hang out for a minute. Okay, let's go over our additives. So this is the setup I have. Both of these will be identical. I'm going to pour uncolored. I'm going to pour a soap with clay. Then I'm going to pour an anti-alkanet bar. And for those of you wondering what anti-alkanet is, that's my silly name for my purple powder. We'll look at it in a minute, that I invented when I was really pissed off with alkanet. So I make purple without an infusion with it. And that's what the master class is about this weekend. All right, so we're going to have an anti-alkanet that's identical to these, but it's anti-alkanet. So that's a slurry. On the next cavity, we're going to have the same anti-alkanet, but we are going to add buttermilk because Kathy adds buttermilk. Remember, we're troubleshooting here, so we're not sure what's causing the issue. So we're trying a bunch of different things. So alkanet plus buttermilk. Then over here, we're going to have annatto infused. So the coconut oil that's in the recipe has been infused with annatto seed. And then the annatto infused with buttermilk. So maybe that'll help us determine if it's high water content or high water content plus buttermilk, or if it's just buttermilk, or if it's the bar itself, or kind of, you know, give a bunch of options as to what's going on. Now, if I wanted to set out another, well, I guess I'd need 2 more trays to do this, the gelled versus non-gelled, and also test essential oils. I could add some essential oils to some of those, but I decided not to because my brain was beginning to hurt and I knew I was going to be doing this live and too many variables and I'm going to mess it up. Okay, so let's look at our additives that I mentioned. This is the clay. This is French paint clay. Now, y'all know I'm not big on clays, so it is an older clay. I haven't used it in a while. I would get some lovely colors from it. And the reason why I'm not big on clays is because many of them are adulterated. It took me a long time to find this one, and then the manufacturer stopped selling it. So I just kind of like, yeah, I'm just so tired of the pure clay hunt. So this one is, I believe it's a French paint clay. It might be, no, maybe it's the Australian clay. I guess I should go look. Sorry, Kathy. I'll go look before I send it to you. So this is just some clay, and I slurried it with some water, and it is, we're just going to add that to our soap, setting that over there. The next up, this is my anti-alkanet powder. And it's just, I mean, it looks pretty dark in there. It's just a botanical blend that I get purple from. The full recipe for this is in my book. The book is also included in the Extracting Color from Nature Masterclass series on the website. And we're going to go over full details, recipe, how I created all that good stuff in the masterclass this weekend as well. So again, this is just slurried. We'll be adding this to our oils as well for one of the batches. Next up, this is the coconut oil that I infused with annatto seed. It's Ann George annatto. You can see it ground down at the bottom where it fell down. This was done on a live. That is also up on YouTube. It is the color testing video up on YouTube if you want to see how this was created. I already have all this measured out, by the way. Here is the tallow. I forgot I got you so that you can see with me. I don't have to turn it around. So another big first for me is I've never used animal fats to make soap. I have used soap made with animal fats, and I did not like it. It was not because it didn't lather great or anything like that. It's because I got a little grossed out about rubbing an animal on me. And I'm not a vegan. I'm not even vegetarian. Sometimes I like to be pescatarian because people don't know what that is, and that kind of makes me giggle. Pescatarian is when you only eat fish. It's the only animal product you eat. And I posted in a comment, when I was in high school, I read Upton Sinclair's The Jungle for a history assignment. You will definitely look at animal processes much differently if you read that book. And I'm double checking comments as we go. So if you see me reaching over here scrolling, and just some questions about what is the anti-alkanet, those were answered. Awesome. Okay, so this is the tallow that we're using. And then, of course, we just have some organic coconut oil. We're still a little bit warm on some of our oils, but I think we're just going to go with it. Oh, also, the buttermilk. Now, Kathy, I don't know what type of buttermilk you're using. This is, I went down to Sprouts. It's organic, grass-fed, but it's cultured low-fat buttermilk. Typically at the Sprouts, they have a lot of local dairy. I could not find any local, like full-fat, like the real stuff buttermilk. So this is cultured low-fat buttermilk with only 1% milk fat. I don't know if this is similar to what you use or not. So we're just going to go with it and see what happens. When you're adding milks to your soap, you are adding additional water, additional fat, additional protein, additional sugars. That's why milk soaps are so awesome. Not because of the extra water, but because of the extra fats, proteins, and sugars that are in here. So we'll give that a good shake before we use it. And then, of course, over here, I have a 1-to-1 sodium hydroxide to lye solution that I set up. It's master batch. This is room temperature, and I'm going to keep it over here so I don't spill the lye solution. Whoo! Grabbing some gloves. I have my trusty scale. We'll be weighing things out as we go. Now, I won't be able to check for questions and comments as we go along, so I'm just going to be moving through these. But let's start making some soap. Let me get my hair up out of the way so I don't get hair all up in my soap. There. Okay, there. That's how you used to see me. Hi. Glasses back on so I can see you. And, oh, top to the stick blender. Always a bonus. One other thing I'm going to want is a pitcher with just some water in it to clear my stick blender between batches. All right, we will just use this. And I'll put that, that's going to get pretty ugly, so I'll put it there behind the front view for you. All right. Whew, focus. You guys know about the superhero pose. Be superhero. I think just standing up straight helps your blood circulation, calms you down. All right, so let's start with our uncolored soap. This one should be very easy. So these are, I'm using my 100 gram master batch concept, but with Kathy's recipe. So I want 2 of these bars, so I need 200 grams. And fingers crossed that I really measured everything right and did all my math and have enough to make all these soaps, which I should. It should be fine. I should stop second guessing myself, right? And then we're not adding buttermilk to this. We're just making, this is what these oils look like. My lye solution needs to be enough for 2 bars. So it's premixed, and I need 56 grams total out of this. So here we go. Okay. Yeah, putting this back over there. So, oh, one thing, Kathy, I thought about. So you have a high super fat. Your super fat's about 8. That's what you told me. And then you're also adding some buttermilk. So if your buttermilk has a high fat content, I wonder if there's like a fat bloom component to what's going on. I'm not sure. I also wasn't sure if you brought these to just emulsion or if you poured out a trace. I think you're pouring out a light trace. And I have zero idea what to expect time-wise on this. I mean, it is coconut oil in there. But that tallow, I have no idea what's going to happen. So I think I'm going to just bring it to a trace. This is actually going really well. I thought, you know, my nightmares of soaping live and something that I've never made before. It's like I'm going to end up with soap on a stick. I'm going to have volcanoes. Just every worst possible outcome. And see, we're down to 100 degrees in here. I poured, Kathy, so you know, it was 135 right now. I think it was 140. It's cooling down pretty quickly. And I think I saw that you said light trace, so I think I'm not at emulsion. I saw some little floaties on there. We're going to let it go for another minute here. Thank you, Tim. He said, you're among friends who probably all happen to us too, no matter what happens. And you use liquid buttermilk with master batch lye solution. So your lye solution is 1 part buttermilk to 1 part water. Is that correct? I have a little bit concerned with that. I think you had said it's 1-to-1. So let's just talk about that for a minute while I'm pouring these off. I'm pretty sure, gosh, I don't know. Look, it looks like I have some oil floating on top. I'm going to blend it another minute. All right, when you go to master batch your lye solution, whatever ratio you use, the minimum is 1 part water to 1 part sodium hydroxide. If you're using anything else to mix your lye solution, it needs to be more than 1 part, okay? If you're not using water, you got to use more than 1 part. The reason being is because with fats, or like with milks, you have extra fat. So when you're weighing out 100 grams of milk, there is not 100 grams of water in there. In order to dissolve 100 grams of sodium hydroxide, you need 100 grams of water. Oh, that looks much better. That looks much, much better. Hopefully don't all take this long. We'll be like stick blending for an hour here. Okay, so I'm just pouring these. It is a very, 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 very light trace. Look at that. Isn't it cool when math works? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Filled up exactly with no leftovers. And I can actually use this pitcher again because we're going to put a color in it. All right, next up is the clay. So we're going to do the exact same thing with the clay. 200. So our clay, I know, pouring back in, but it's just a little bit of sodium hydroxide. There we go. Oh, no, 203. I want to make sure I don't have any leftovers. Okay. Clay has additional water content, so this one will be a higher water content. It will have, this is going to be more like, so this is 2 grams of clay and 30 grams of water, so this will be similar to our slurry and water content in that it will have about a 1 back of my head, 1.5 to 1 water to sodium hydroxide ratio for our full water content. Okay, got that mixed in. I'm moving things off camera into my sink as we go so I don't run out of room, and I'm a big slob, so. Oh, that's pretty. That's very pretty. Very, very pretty. Another thing with clays is I did find that all the colors I got with clays, they were either very similar to or, you know, okay compared to the ones I obtain with botanicals. So this, I don't bother with this clay anymore. I just use madder root. And this is, again, 2 bars, so I want 56. It's got to be like the most boring part of this live for you, watching me slowly pour microscopic measurements without talking because I have to think. Okay, let's blend this one up. Clays, you're using about 1 teaspoon per pound of oil for your formulation. So I use a scant 1/4 of a teaspoon for both of these. Both of these bars, so totals 1 scant 1/4 teaspoon. And I am going to put that back on the burner. Oh, another thing, and remember, Kathy, this is just if it, wondering if it helps you. I did notice that while the oils are loose and fluid at about 100 degrees, they seemed looser, more fluid at a higher temperature. But then again, I mean, if it was a false trace, I mean, you would have like soda ash. You wouldn't have that weird reverse soda ash thing you had going on. I don't know, really, really kind of crazy, interesting little conundrum you discovered for us. Oh yeah. Okay, so now we're going to pour off this. Remember, one of our trays is going to be gelled. The other one will not. See that extra overflow on that? I don't know if you can. Color's really similar to that of the mat. These bars filled up more than the other ones did because it had extra water and clay. So there's more stuff, more overall stuff in there. Okay, let's go ahead and do the annatto next because I think I want to do the annatto next. Hold on, let me check my temperatures over here. Okay, back to 130. These are at 100. That one's at 132. I'm going to turning that off and just leaving that on there to warm up. Let's do the anti-alkanet. Okay, so again, we're going to do 2 bars. I'm just cleaning some of this off my stick blender. We'll do anti-alkanet, then we'll do the anti-alkanet with the madder root. I'm sorry, the buttermilk. What was I talking about? Madder root. Oh, clay reminds me of madder root. Okay, so off we go again, 200. Hey, come on. I think I was touching the tip. Okay. Then we want 56. Okay. For the anti-alkanet, if I had 2. All right, so this was 15 grams of the, oh, okay, that was wrong. Okay, so 32, so yeah, I should need 32. Okay, math in my head. So this is enough to make 4 bars of soap. And we are making 4 bars of soap with anti-alkanet. 2 of them are going to have buttermilk added to it, though. So I need, I did the math right. We should be right about there. So all the math worksheets I've been putting together for y'all for the tutorials up on soapyfriends.com got me all like, ooh, I got my math down. I'm all super good at math. And then I walk around and do all this math in my head, and then I don't write it down, and then I'm like, oh, what was the math that I did? Because, yeah, no matter how good you are at something, yeah, your brain just isn't going to remember all that. I got all sorts of soapy foam up in here. I'm just wiping that off. Okay. Okay, so from that black murkiness, purple! Ah, that's so cool. This does lighten up as it sets up. I will be unmolding all of these soaps and the masterclass live Friday. That's kind of a preview to what anti-alkanet will look like. And so thank you again, Kathy. These will give us a nice comparison of colorants and how they work in a base recipe versus the anti-alkanet. And I will post a picture to the group as well so you can see them. And I'm sure Kathy will share some photos too, because I'm going to be sending these off to her. Question for you all is, can you hear me okay over the stick blender? Kathy, I am having a difficult time finding trace on this. Now, you have obviously much more experience with this recipe than I do, and maybe you have no issues finding trace, but you might also want to like take your temperatures and measure set a timer and stick blend for a specific set of time to make sure you're reaching the exact same trace on everything. Because I know you had at least one bar that you didn't have this happen on, so maybe that one, maybe the ones it is happening on, or the ones, maybe one of them had a false trace. Whether it's the one that it didn't happen on or the one that it did happen on, I got no idea. But I am noticing versus my my standard recipe that I use, which that's up on the site too if anyone wants it. Just a little. I'm like, is that a trace? I just find questioning myself a little bit. I need that picture back because we're doing more of the same colorant, but this time we're adding buttermilk. Alrighty, so let's do that again. All right, 200 tear, rest of this. A couple grams off. So Kathy, the buttermilk one is going to have about 3 or 4 grams less of the anti-alkanet in it than the one without the buttermilk. Okay, let me look at my buttermilk. For each bar, I need 7, so 14. I didn't ask you how much buttermilk you used, or if I did, I don't remember. So I just went with, I think it's like, here, you can just look real quick. It is a total of 5% of the recipe, of the full recipe, all add-ins. Okay, so I said 14. The rest of this, I'm going to make buttermilk biscuits with. Nom, nom. The simple pleasures, right? Okay. I love milk soaps. I cannot wait to do, I'm going to do, have plans for a master class with milk soaps, or maybe there'll be free lives here. I just have to figure it all out in my head what I want to do with it. But the cool thing about milk soaps is they change your colors in very cool ways. My favorite color change with milk soaps is indigo, because you can get turquoise and teals with indigo and milk soaps. Awesome! So pretty. If you're a vegan soaper, you can get sodium lactate. That is derived from, I think, beets, from beet sugar. And that'll give you that same kind of color shift. It's the lactic acid in the milks that give you those color shifts. And I asked you if you could hear me over the stick blender, and I don't know if anyone answered. Oh, Kathy Scott did. Yay! And is the anti-alkanet matter in indigo? Was the color you added infused in oil or water? It's just the anti-alkanet is matter in charcoal. All of my proportions are in the book, as well as all the tests, or a discussion of the testing I did when I developed it. And we are going to make all sorts of purple soap without any alkanet, and then some with alkanet this weekend on the Masterclass Live. And you'll get all the groovy details on the anti-alkanet and all of those new purple blends. If you can't attend live, then you can catch the replay on that. But if you can attend live, I got all sorts of air in here. I was yip-yapping. Oh, yes, these spoons are stainless steel. But the class, if you can attend live, you will also have the opportunity to win an anti-alkanet kit from AnnGeorges.com. Ann is a super awesome soapy friend, and she supports all we're doing with botanicals to color our soap. She does so much for us, including making up the soapy color test kits, and she gives you an ample amount for rock bottom price. But yeah, so I'm giving away 10 anti-alkanet kits, and for those that don't win a kit, some of you will also win a coupon for 15% off your entire purchase at AnnGeorges.com. So for those of you that already use and love her botanicals, that might be the one you're hoping for. Okay, so this is our buttermilk, and I'm pouring that over here. I'm keeping track. I have it in my head where I poured everything, but also, thank goodness, it's on video here where I poured everything, and I will always forever be able to remember when I come back. Well, one, that soap's very obvious, our uncolored one, but see the, I don't know, oh, you can't see the little T. I have, look at these molds, they have an actual top. This is where you can hang them from, but I also wrote a little T on there. That's what I'm considering the top, so top, left, bottom, right. Yeah, I'll mark the soaps before I take them out of the mold. I'm just going to carve I guess, carve their initials in them before I unmold them. Okay. Last set of soaps. That went so fast. All right. So Kathy, I do have some of the base blend left. So if you have any requests, maybe I'll pour a couple with either some essential oil in it, or maybe I'll do, oh, you know what? Let's do it now, because then we can gel it or not. Let's just pop these elephants. We're going to do uncolored with buttermilk. Oh, yeah, let's do that. Let's see if I have enough. There, I just said I'd let you decide what to do, and I took it away from you. I want to do uncolored with buttermilk. Let's see if that buttermilk really does anything. Do I have enough? Do I have enough? Do I have 200? I know I measured extra. Well, at least I think I measured extra. Oh my gosh. Oh, 99.5? It was exactly enough. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Let's do our buttermilk. It says shake well, so I'll do it before each pour. And that's 14. And I over poured a smidge, but that's okay. And we're going to go 56. So you get into a groove and it starts going real fast, especially when you're not talking through the whole thing. Not that I mind talking to you all. I'm just letting you know when you're doing it yourself, if you think, oh my gosh, you went through all that stuff and that just seems crazy and so long-winded and so time-consuming, it's totally worth it, and it goes super fast once you get into a groove. Just get everything pre-measured and set up, and you will be micro-batch color testing like a rock star. The recipe I typically use for my testing and how I account for infused oils and all of that goodness is in the book. And that's all linked in the description on this video as well. And you can also just pop over to the website, soapyfriends.com. There's a digital edition of it, so you can just read it from any device. And you can also get it on Amazon if you want the print. That's all linked up on the website too. I'm really almost tempted. The temperature, 150. Yeah, I'm going to raise the temperature on this last little mini batches over here. These are the annatto infused. So we're going to be soaping closer to 150 on them. All of these are pouring at about 120. I wonder if you need to be soaping warmer. Okay, for everyone that soaps with tallow, if you would do me a big favor and in the comments, drop a note for Kathy. Let her know what temperature you soap at. Please let us know what temperature your oils are when you are soaping, if you soap with tallow. Only if you soap with tallow. If you haven't soaped with tallow, that's fine. Until today, I haven't either. Okay, so those elephants are uncolored with buttermilk added. Another picture. How rude of me walking off screen like that without even saying that I was doing it. Okay, last one's up. we are the, this looks so pretty. Okay, we're at, as I'm stirring, Kathy, I'm getting 169, 150. Okay, we'll just stir for a minute. Let me see where that one's getting to. Okay, that'll warm up by the time we're there. It's 120 over there. Can you see that pretty? Oh, yeah, my spoons aren't. Hold on, let me pour it. You'll be able to see once I pour. Look at that. That is Aunt George annatto. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. And I infused that into the coconut oil, and I did that in December. So it's a few months old. You can see here's the labels. This is a free download on the website, these labels. So I had 500, I poured 100 out. That gives me 400 left. So I always know how much I have in there. I love my labels. And, oh, I need this back. See, I got sidetracked. Okay, here we go, 56. Smidge over, but again, that should be fine. Do have a really high super fat on these. Well, I mean, I soap at 7 to 8% super fat. I wonder what your total super fat is, Kathy, with the buttermilk. I mean, that's going to really depend on the milk itself. Oh, that is just so pretty. Okay, one more burst. So a couple of these bars are going to have air bubbles in them, and anyone that has soaked with me before with my micro batches, you know, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm just testing for color. That air is not going to affect the color. This one, we're really seeing those bubbles. I did get emulsion. And gosh, I almost wonder if I could even soak warmer. Okay, those are filled. Pour that. And let's do our last one, which is with same thing, but with buttermilk. And yep, we're at 160. This out of the way. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Look at that, so pretty. I'll hold the next one up to the camera before I pour it too. It's so pretty. I know there's a little bit of shadow going on down there. Biscuits. Okay, sodium hydroxide. And let's blend this sucker up. So in the masterclass this weekend, I have more soaps than this planned for you, and the class format is on the first day, we're going to discuss in detail all of the botanicals, all of the ratios for how we're putting them into the soaps, the extraction process. For some of them, oh, I tipped there. Oh. For some of them, I also go over how they're grown and harvested. Some of that's really fascinating. And we go over some other uses, so you really get a lot of information about the botanicals themselves. And then we do a basic setup of any slurries, decoctions, etc. we're going to be using in the class. That's the first day. Then the second day is very similar to what you've seen here, where it's a soap making bonanza. We have lots of fun. It's interactive. You can speak to me. It's over Zoom, so it's not just me, a floating head, talking to you. We're all talking with each other. Lots of fun, giggles, laughs. And also, one of the soaps that we'll be making is audience participation requested. So whatever you want me to make, that's what we end up making. We do a poll the night before to determine it so I can prep for it. And then on the final day, we unmold all of our soaps, which I thought, you know, when I was planning the structure of them, I'm like, I don't know, is that like worth like a whole day? And it's like, well, I can't do it any sooner than that. But oh my gosh, it was so much fun, especially since I totally biffed up the CPOP ones for the indigo class. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So we had a really good laugh. We learned a lot. We cut soaps up. We really analyzed the soaps. And that's the live portion of the master class. So it's those 3 days. And then after a week, I come back and I do a recorded color update for you. And then when the soaps are cured, we also do another inspection of them and do lather tests. We found some really, really fascinating findings on the lather tests with the Indigo, Always Indigo Masterclass Live. I don't think we'll have surprises like that in the anti-alkanet, just because I've done so much work with these purples, but who knows? Maybe you guys will all surprise me with the ones we come up with. All right, this looks pretty well. See, I didn't get as many ear bubbles in that one. Look. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. Oh my goodness. Okay, pouring this. And we're done. Yay! Another big bonus to the Masterclass Lives is not just all of the testing and colors you see, but you don't have to do any dishes. I do. So this entire mess, you don't have to make it. I'll make it for you. But really, they are lots and lots of fun. I hope you can join. Just pop over to the website and it's just a simple checkout. It's right there, big banner at the top of the page, and you'll get emails with all the Zoom links and all that good stuff. I'm going to scroll and see if there are some questions that I need to answer. It looks like Kathy Scott says you like to keep your temps above 100 degrees to avoid steric spots. I didn't even look to see, is there steric acid in tallow? I don't know. And Rebecca Fish, who won a free seat to the anti-alkanet class. And, oh, so there must be steric spots in the tallow. Okay. And question for the end, what is the setup to use for your video today? Having such a hard time finding a tripod for overhead that is tall enough. Oh, yeah, I screwed a thing into the roof. But well, yeah, so I've got a pole hanging down. It's actually a clampy thing with an arm thing, and the camera's grabbed on it. So yeah, I couldn't find a tripod either. I screwed something into the roof in order to get that going. And Kathy Scott says, use soap at room temperature with lard with no issues. And Kathy says, yes, tallow is high in steric. So I don't know, maybe this is a steric acid thing. We could test that. I could do I don't know, like maybe shea butter and coconut oil and see if the same thing happens. I have a shea butter and olive oil bar that I love. Oh my gosh. It is like sheer luxury. It is super high in shea butter. Oh my gosh. Okay, maybe I'll make that bar again. And I infuse it with resins. Oh my gosh, with like some myrrh. Oh, I want to make that bar again. I don't know if I remember any of the weird color show, but that'd be a really good test. Maybe it's the stearic acid. So I'll consider doing that for us, Kathy. And unless there's any other questions, I think we're all wrapped up for the day, and I gotta go do my dishes. So last chance if you have any questions. And I know I'm a minute or not a minute. I'm like there's like a 3-second delay or something. So I'll wait. I'm seeing the Jeopardy song. Then I'll look at my phone again. See if there's any comment. Do y'all watch Jeopardy? I love Jeopardy. All right. Any other questions? I will pop in and answer them after I do my dishes. Tim, thank you. It was super fun. And Kathy, you said high shea would be a yellowish soap, right? Well, that depends. You can get refined shea butter and it wouldn't be yellowish. My shea butter, I can pull it out for you real quick. My shea butter is refined. And it is not yellow. But it's also not white. Like that tallow is white. So, all right. That's everything for today, my dear soapy friends. Thank you so much for soaping with me, playing with me. This was super fun, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully, I'll see you Friday for the anti-alkanet masterclass live. We're going to make lots of purple soaps. We're going to give away prizes from Ann George's. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for this weekend. Okay, until then, bye, everyone.